Hey guys, I'm back. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Joyful's Tips to Financial Freedom. Um, this is a special edition. Sorry about that. This is a special edition. Well, not really special. I just wasn't feeling well last night, so I had to make it up today. How about that? But I am committed to you guys, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I got the information out that I wanted to share, which is part two of our session from last week. So just give me 1 second here while some of you guys continue to come on. I want to make sure that I'm streaming properly everywhere. And I'll just check that real quick. Looks like I am. Good job. Good shot there. So I see you guys coming in. If you haven't joined StreamYard, definitely go ahead and set that up. It definitely lets me know that you're here and I can see your comments and respond. So I'd appreciate that. But again, welcome to Building Legacies with Joy. Today we're going to talk about the truth about being a caregiver. The truth about being a caregiver from my perspective, from a financial advisor perspective, kind of some things that, again, those topics we don't like to talk about so much, but they're necessary topics. And I think they need to be shared. I think they need to be discussed because at some point we're all going to go through it, whether it's um, a child, a friend, a mother, a father, whatever the case may be. It's just a part of life. So that's what we want to go through today. So last week, um, bounced off a few things regarding losing my mother and preparing and having those conversations then. This week, we're going to go over a couple of things about the caregiver side. So, welcome, Rochelle. Thank you for joining. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday afternoon. Um, Couple of things. Again, I do appreciate you guys for coming back today. I know you guys missed it last night. I wasn't feeling well. I decided to come back off vacation and for whatever reason do a detox. And y'all know I had a migraine headache, like to y'all know how that is. Just being real. The migraines ain't nothing to play with, yeah. So if you know you have one, you know. But that's what that was about. So everything was fine. Daddy is fine. That was actually a me break because I couldn't see myself having a headache and trying to talk to you guys. So just being real, that's what's going on. Just wanted to share that. Daddy is fine. He's doing well. He's downstairs actually right now getting to watch me on YouTube right now. So I'm sure I hear his mouth later on something that I'm going to do wrong because I'm daddy's girl and that's how they are. But for those of you, let me back up a little bit and introduce myself. Hey, my name is Tanita Abraham, also known as Joyful Abraham, owner and founder of Building Legacies LLC. Website is www.buildourlegacy.com. You see that at the bottom. And I come here every week just to share some information about my life experiences as just a whole lot of things regarding finance that I've learned along the way, things that they tell you, things that they don't tell you, things that you learn even being in the industry and things that you don't learn being in the industry. Because if I learn it as a financial advisor and I tell my clients, then I lose clients if they learn it themselves. So just a lot of things I want to incorporate into one spot every week. I come on for about 30 minutes, usually Wednesday evenings, but today is a special day. And I wanted to make sure I got the information out. So if you're here for the first time, thank you for joining us. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things: like, share, follow, share on your page, please. I definitely appreciate that. Hey, Andrea, thank you. You know, I got my Vogue Me glasses on and jewelry, so I'm doing it all today. But thank you guys for joining. Um, and I just wanted to make sure, like I said, if you're a newbie, hashtag newbie in the comments. Just give me a shout out if you're a regular, like Andrea and Rochelle have done here. If you are not following me, the Building Legacies Facebook page, definitely follow me there so you can know when I'm going to go live again. I'll probably be going live a lot more often. Definitely trying to get back on track, giving you more information more consistently, as my coach Rashonda would suggest. So I believe she may be here also. So definitely want to make sure I'm giving you the information you need as you can receive it, and want to let you know that I am always there to be a good resource for information that you may have already known or not, but just a different perspective. So again, if you're a newbie, hashtag newbie in the comments. If you're regular, say hey. Thanks, Latoya, for joining. And just let me know where you're from, because we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, the YouTube, for those of you who have family members that are not on Facebook, the YouTube is Black Girl Magic Wall Street Edition. So you can follow us and have your parents and whatnot follow us there if they've been asking, because I know some people don't use Facebook. So hey, Andrea, thank you. Oh, the specs. So my glasses, I always have to recognize where my glasses came from. For those of you who know, I pretty much most of the time wear a different pair of glasses. I am a huge fan, probably an addict of this website called Vogue Me. I'll put the information in the chat. If you want to take a look there, VogueMe.com is the website. It is the very inexpensive glasses. And also have a coupon where you get 15% off of the any pair of glasses, any sale price, anything for 15%. I recommend that you go there. If you find something even that you're not sure of, you could definitely go ahead and just buy it. If you don't have the prescription put in online, you could take it to Walmart and they'll fill it for you. It's quick and easy. So why not save some money? I'm always about saving some money. So why not save some money and get you some inexpensive glasses and also a little bit stylish and different. We could be home, we could be on camera, we can be Zooming with our family and friends. Might as well be cute with it, right? Hey. Hey, Pam, thanks for joining. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started because again, for those of you who don't know, I like to keep my sessions quick to the point, 30 minutes or less. So we are gonna go ahead and get started. Again, if you did miss last week was my mother's birthday, last Wednesday, October 14th. She is no longer with us. It's been going since 2005. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about her, how her passing affected me, what I learned from it, because I believe everything that you go through, even the tragic situations, are always a learning experience. And we don't get the true blessing of the meaning behind it unless we start looking for what did we learn, how did it shift our lives, what about that tragic experience made us better, right? So that's what we definitely want to try to turn to get some kind of I won't say closure, because there never really is any closure in losing a loved one, but just how to take that and see in some cases how that made me a stronger person. A lot of people say I'm very strong. I don't see that. But I know I'm a fighter. I know I have always been a fighter. It's just in my blood. A lot of it comes from my father. But at the same time, we do what we have to do. So I just talked a little bit about that, some ways to adjust, some things to do to prepare when a loved one becomes ill. So if you didn't catch that one, definitely go back and make it a point to catch that, because I think it was a blessing to a lot of people. I got a lot of feedback. So maybe some information that you may need to look into. So, but this week is about becoming a caregiver. So for you guys also who are new, I'm a caregiver now for my father, have been for about 7 years living with me, about 10 years overall, trying to do it long distance. And I just believe that this is a situation that everyone has to go through at some point in time. So we're going to jump into just a few tips. First one is a reality check that most people probably think you can be prepared. But let's be honest, there's really no such thing as financial preparedness. There's no such thing. It's almost like saying, I want to save money to have a baby before we have a baby. You can save all the money in the world, and the reality is something's going to come up that you cannot prepare for, especially when it comes to medical situations, whatever the case may be. So for anyone who's in that situation of looking at a loved one, whether it's, a mother, father, aunt, uncle, whatever, grandmother, whatever the case may be, for anyone that's in a situation of looking at a loved one and being concerned and kind of having those thoughts in the back of your mind of what to do, because it seems like that may be something you may have to consider, I want you to take that mindset of I'm not ready financially away, because at the end of the day, you have to look at this also. Listen, our parents and our parents' parents took care of their parents and their parents' parents. And money wasn't an issue. Money wasn't a thought process. It was always, it's family. I love them. I want them to be happy. And we're going to do what we have to do. And at the end of the day, the earlier you take that mindset into that situation, the better off you'll be. Because the longer you wait, the last thing you want to do is be unprepared as much as possible, because you took the mindset of, I can't afford to do this. What do I do? And just ignore it. So that's my first thing. There's no such thing as financial preparedness. There's a couple of things I'm going to go over you can look into to prepare, or just at least think about in the back of your mind. So when that day starts creeping up on you even more, that you'll be a little more ready, at least have some instructions. But there's no such thing as being prepared. So I don't want anyone to sit there once that situation comes, whether it's a stroke or heart attack or something like that, and they get stuck in the moment of, oh my God, I wasn't prepared, and you start beating yourself up, because reality is there's no such thing. There's no such thing of there's any financial analysis. There's all kind of things I can run, programs I can run. They can tell you the same thing. There's just too many factors that you can't put together in those situations. So that's one. Number two, keep in mind in the back of your mind, there's always a situation where it may not be a parent. Sometimes you end up taking care of a sibling who may have some issues, and you have to take them in. Sometimes it's an aunt, an uncle, a great grandparent, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's a kid. Let's just be honest. Kids get hurt. Things happen. And you don't want to wish that on yourself or on anyone that you love, any loved one that you have. But you know that we all know at the end of the day, there's someone or some people that no matter what, you love them so much that you want them to be happy, and you want to do your part. So at the end of the day, just always remember, just look around you and the people you care about, and think about things or conversations that you may need to have that you don't want to have when it's too late. And I talked about some of those conversations last week, but I focused mostly on parents. But some of those conversations with someone that you know you would take care of, we talk about ride or die all the time, and I have your back and things like that with family and best friends all the time. But the reality is, when that situation comes as we get older, some of those friends and ride or die friends are going to need you to show up and show and prove that. And hey, Wayne, thanks for being here. And at the end of the day, are you going to be there to have their back? And it may not be a permanent situation, but it's just something to keep in mind when you know someone says, hey, I went to the doctor today, I have some concerns, whatever the case may be. They may not even be asking for it, but at the end of the day, if you would want someone to know that you have their back and you always had their back, it has to be something in you to be ready to just do what you feel like is the best thing to do, and not necessarily focus on, missing work or money or anything like that, because blessings come in all different shapes and forms. I left a job a couple years ago for a friend that was battling cancer, and I would not change it. I got written up. I don't care, but I wouldn't change it, because at the end of the day, that person needed a friend. And I know what it's like to, especially now, know what it's like to go through a life-changing hard event, and feel alone. So you don't want to be that person that lives in regrets for not being there for someone you cared about. So always know it's not always a parent. And as a lot of us are getting older, sometimes it's going to be a friend, sometimes it's going to be a kid, sometimes it's you just never know. So just think about things like that. Think about how you would handle that in that situation, because It may just come one time, and it may be something that if you don't act accordingly, you may not be prepared. And going through my situation, I had a lot of people that showed up and showed out, and I'm very grateful for them. I got a lot of people that I owe. I don't necessarily owe, I know you guys before you start tripping, but I know that it's times like that when you know that you're not alone because people show that, and that's what it means. That's what means the most. And I wasn't, of course, I had my family there, and I appreciate my family, but it's a whole nother situation when you have people who you call friends that drop everything and support you. So, and help you fight through a life changing situation. Exactly. Number 3, prepare as much as you can. So, this is the main thing I want to focus on. We're about 15 minutes in. There are a lot of things, especially when it comes to taking someone in or getting someone moved, like you're moving your mother, moving your father in with you or into a home, things like that. Um, it's not always, again, like I said earlier, it's not always about money, but you definitely want to make sure that you know your resources. As those times start coming around, have those conversations, look into what benefits there are. One thing that I learned just from hearsay was that even as a caregiver for a senior, a lot of places in their county, they'll offer you like a stipend for taking care of a loved one, especially a senior. So if you live somewhere and you're taking care of a caregiver, there is an annual stipend that typically is provided by the county to have someone come in to help assist, take your parent somewhere, take your loved one somewhere. It doesn't have to be a senior. As long as there's someone that's disabled, that benefit is there. And all you have to do is get a doctor's note and it's yours. And it's pretty much every year. Hopefully that's not been taken away, but I know that it's there. It has been there. So even if it's not a veteran that you're taking care of, it's something that'll help you, and more importantly, help give you a break. So there's resources that are out there. You just have to look for them. That's one thing that I didn't know. A lot of people didn't know. So I wanted to put that out there. Check your county for caregiver resources, senior resources, and there are a lot of things out there to help with transportation, even some of the centers, adult enrichment center. My father had been going to that when he first lived here. And there's some benefits to help take care of those expenses. Because let's be honest, hiring a caregiver, average price is anywhere between $20 and $30 an hour. So get all the help you can get, because I don't care how much money you make, especially to have a insured and bonded caregiver. I would say the least amount that I paid was $22 an hour in the beginning for my father before I got his benefits together. So you definitely want to make sure that you are prepared. All right. And listen, David said there's the feds have some benefits also. Most of your jobs do have benefits too. So if you are still working, especially for a major corporation, most of your jobs have some caregiving services now. That's changing a lot because I haven't seen that in years. But I would say in the last 5 years, a lot of major corporations, even some smaller businesses, have been taking on those benefits through a company I used to work with that provided services for having taken care of a senior, or taking care of a sick child. So not only do you have time off set aside if you just have a baby, but you can have some assistance while you're working if you needed to have that child, that loved one, or whatever at home with some help. So that's also a benefit as well. So thank you, Wayne, for pointing that out. Also, I would say that when it comes to the financial standpoint, and this is one that people don't like to talk about, but I would say if there's anything that you want to set aside at least some of their money for, of course, we're going to take care of medical expenses. We're going to take care of whatever housing expenses. Make sure you prepare for the final expenses in advance, because when it comes to those final days, coming up with that money and not having that money set aside, at least some of it paid down, I would say from all of my clients, also from my own experience, That's the hardest thing to even deal with, is trying to figure out who's going to pay for this and who's going to pay for that and what's not paid for. So if you haven't taken care of that yourself with your own life insurance, which I beg and plead that you get some kind of life insurance policy. Um, but if you haven't done that, if they don't have that done, set up something with a funeral home service, set up something with a cemetery. They can get you at least in the plan as low as you need to go to start paying for some of that. So that's taken down for when those final days come. Because you don't want to have to. I've had clients had to reach into their 401k at the last minute because, or have to wait for an insurance policy to pay out, or wait to um, a withdrawal from an IRA or whatever the case may be, because they didn't have those taken care of. So you definitely want to have a plan in place in the beginning, because you never know what the final days are. We know that. I can speak from experience. I was told in February that my father wasn't going to make it longer than 6 months. It's almost November, and he's doing fine. He gets on my nerves sometimes, but he's doing fine. So let's just remember, we don't know the final day. So the best thing is to get prepared as much as you can as possible. And a lot of that heartache comes in the end that gets in the way of mourning is is just figuring out the money part, because it's aggravating. We can call on who's going to preach. We can call on those. That's the easy thing. But when it comes to the financial part, that's the most frustrating, aggravating part of it all. Not only is it frustrating for you, it's frustrating for the only people who probably have that down are people who do it for a living. But when it but being in the middle as a financial advisor, helping those situations too, um, going through it with other people and going through it myself, and having that conversation now, I feel like the best thing that I could say is to have those conversations now, not only for yourself, but with your kids, with whoever you're taking care of. Yes, 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 Andrea, a final expenses policy. Thanks for reminding me of that. A final expenses policy, and that will help you be prepared, um, have everything outlined, taken care of as much as possible. So that's definitely tip number 3. Number 4, while you're going through the process of taking care of a loved one, the most important thing, whether they're young, old, whatever the case may be, find ways for them to socialize. Make sure that they're living while they're living. Some of you guys see me quite often, dancing with my father, cutting up a little bit, having him do his little shimmy, things like that. My father used to party all the time. My mother and my father were socialites. And so one thing I realized from the transition of him being with me in the beginning, if those of you who don't know, he has Alzheimer's. So the transition of him being with me in the beginning to now, he's gotten obviously much better. And most of that was because instead of him sitting around the house and not doing anything or just having some help a couple hours a day, we went to getting him involved in activities. So like I mentioned earlier, the senior center was one, who has activities all day. Even if he's not interacting or she is not interacting, they're still amongst other people. And all of that noise and things like that around them actually gives them something to do. So, what I would tell my father, little secret, I told him that I had to go to work. So, that was my job, where I was leaving to go to work. And the adult center was where he went to work. So as he got there, he was Mr. Abraham, kept an eye on everybody, made sure there was okay. And that became his job. That became his fulfillment. And also, you may notice sometimes I say that my dad is acting up. He's being a bad employee here, because building legacies is his job. He does a little presentation of commercials when he wants to. He sits with me sometimes when I'm watching the stock market. I'm a day trader, so he watches me while I watch the stock market. And then he'll call out things that he hears on the news he's interested in. Give them something to make them feel like they still have something to do. And they were definitely, you'll start seeing a difference. Quick question that came through, Selena. Thank you for that. How do you encourage them to go when not willing? I think that is all depends on the individual. But the thing that we have done the most here for my father is just not tell him. Or you tell him what he wants to hear. I know he's down here listening, but tell him what he wants to hear and you go do something else anyway. So quite a few times he, for example, doesn't want to eat. And then we just go ahead and put the food in front of him anyway. Kind of like a child. They still go ahead and eat. Um, when it comes to the center, that's how I got him to go to the center. I told him, look, it's time for you to go to work. You need to go back to work now. My dad retired probably 10 times and kept working until he actually officially retired. And so the thing that I got him into was, this is a job. This is going to help pay the bills. And this is going to help take care of things you want to do. And that's when he jumped right in. And I don't know if he ever realized that that's not what it was, but he ended up liking it. The only reason he's not there now is because of COVID. So sometimes you have to do some reverse psychology, Selena, and just think about who the person. Don't think about who they are in that moment. Think about who they were. Think about their daily habits, what they got into, what got them going, and make that the environment that they want to be in that way. If that makes sense. So I hope that helps you, because really, at the end of the day, they're all in their head more than anything, and you have to figure out how to get to that part of them that's still there that they won't tell you that they miss, but they miss that part of them, and figure out how to make that work. So if it's just going to the store, listen, we need to go to the store. Such and such needs something to eat. We're going to help them. So I'm going to need you. We're going to go to the store. And I know you used to cook XYZ. So you need to tell me what we need. I got them in the grocery store. So, or I can't pump gas because I don't like the smell, whatever the case may be. Daddy, I need you to come. We need to get some gas in the car because I have to go to work and I need gas. Take him to the gas station. He pumped the gas. So it's just a lot of things that you can do depending on who they are. With me, it was a little bit easier probably because it was daddy and I'm daddy's girl. So I had to make him feel like he was helping. But that's how I got him to do what was best for both of us. So that's how I encourage him. I hope that helps. I hope that works for you. But I think that would help in any situation. When it's a kid, give them something, encourage them by letting them know what they're getting out of it as well. Not just what you want them to do, but what they can get out of it. And that would help them because they know. They know. Other ways to socialize. It could be something that's church group, bingo. We haven't done bingo yet, but there's a lot of activities out there, even if it's just going around and going to eat at some place where normally older people eat. Like you have to be creative to keep in their environment, but the main thing is, especially when there's situations where emotions, frustration, I think, is involved when it comes to the mentality. You have to be creative to try to change that mode. And sometimes it's just a matter of forcing them into another environment and seeing things from a different perspective. All right. And the last thing is probably one of the most important ones. And I admit I have not done this at all. And it is the hardest thing to do. It is the hardest thing to do, guys. And that is to don't forget to take care of yourself too. And don't forget to ask for help. It's hard because if it's somebody you care about, the reason that you stepped up is because you want to make sure it's done right. You want to make sure that whatever happens, wherever you go, whatever, you get a little selfish. It's hard to go away on a vacation and the thought of what happens when I'm gone. It's hard to trust someone else to no, I'm getting a little emotional on this part. It's hard. It's hard to ask for help and then be told, oh, I can't. Because not everyone is going to make that priority the same priority that you do, simply because, listen, you made the priority by taking them in the first place. Nobody else did. So you can't expect everyone to move the same way that you do. And you can't get mad when they don't move the way that you do. So, but at the same time, you have to let go and take a break. Some of you guys know I just ran down to Hilton Head Sunday. Had a great time. Didn't do anything. For those of you who know me, most time I go on vacation, I eat and I sleep. And that's what I did. I ate and I slept. I obviously I sat on the water. I made sure I had waterfront property, and that was the best thing I could have done for myself. Simply because it allows you to refresh. It's not easy. I don't care how many caregivers, how much help you have coming in. I have 4 caregivers on staff now, and at the end of the day, it's another job in itself. You're managing caregivers. So that's a business in itself. You're owner of the caregivers. You have to make sure they get paid, and make sure that their timesheets, all of that is a part of the process. So always make sure that you're taking time for yourself, because at the end of the day, that person that you spent so much time caring for wants to know that you're caring for yourself too, um, because they don't want to feel like a burden. Um, and I can say that from both ends. After I got out of my coma and everything and came home, I didn't want to feel like a burden. And I was just recuperating. I wasn't at the end of my life anymore. And so looking at my father now, it made me realize, you know what, you have to take better care of yourself, because if I hadn't made it, then I don't know where he would have been. But more importantly, if anything you do, you don't want to do with regrets or shoulda, woulda, couldas. So you definitely want to make sure that you take the time and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's right, Selena. I admit I don't do that all the time. I know some of you guys are probably going to jump in my inbox or text me and saying, I know it's not easy. You get caught up in your everyday routine, but you have to remember, don't be afraid to ask for help, especially when it gets too hard. I think I do wait till the last minute and I ask when it gets too hard. But at the end of the day, I do ask, and I never feel bad for asking anymore. It's just something we get stuck in as a caregiver. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Take a break, um, relax and refresh, and come back. It could be something short, it could be something as simple as a massage, whatever the case may be. But you have to be 100% as much as you can. And you have to be in a position and in a mindset of encouragement and positive as much as you can in someone's last days. So you want to make sure that you do everything you can to have that mentality, so you can move forward and they can move forward too. So that's it. That's my 5 tips for today. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining. A lot of you guys giving me shout outs. I appreciate that. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to put it in the comments. And also for you guys that are kind of my regulars, let me know how you feel about this daytime situation. I wasn't necessarily planning on this, but again, I wasn't feeling well last night. Had some migraine issues. So I decided to make sure that I rescheduled for today to make sure I can get this information out there. But let me know how you feel about me going live during the day, more so in the evening on Wednesday evenings at 8. Maybe I'll make some changes up. We'll see how the feedback goes. But I definitely want some feedback from you guys on that too. Either way, don't forget to check back Building Legacies Facebook page. Obviously, check out my website, www.buildourlegacy.com. You see streaming at the bottom, and then on our YouTube page as well. Always like, share as much as you can. Again, any feedback is appreciated, because I'm still building and helping you build our legacy. So, any questions you have, anything you want me to go over that I haven't gone over, or you want me to go in more detail, I'm also welcome to that. A lot of the questions that I do have, a lot of things I talk about, is because people have asked me about it. So if you're asking, you have a thought or something that you want to discuss, more than likely someone else can benefit from it also. So don't hesitate to share that with me as well. And maybe tonight, because I've been doing that within my individual groups. We'll see how the debates go, and I might, in case if you guys want, I might come back and give a spin on the debates from last week that I did with my groups. I might see how tonight goes and give a little commentary on tonight's debate. So we'll see if there's some jewels or some hidden messages in there that I like to talk about. And maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. So other than that, again, like, share, follow. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And if I don't do that, I'll see you next week, if not before. And you have a great rest of your day.